I feel like I'm the only person in the United States of America that's actually enjoying watching this series and having some fun. On tonight's Siley Report. Folks, if you like this type of content, make sure you like the video. It goes such a long way in pushing this out to the algorithm. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Nearly half of you are not subscribed. We post daily content here on this channel. NBA Finals right around the corner. An incredible Game 6 in this series right around the corner. NBA offseason right around the corner. So much going on. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below. What was your big takeaway from tonight's game? Look, I already know what you're going to say. Okay, I already know. Trust me. I get it. But man, I'm having fun watching this series. You know, the game one was one of the best games we've seen in the history of the league, right? And shout out to offside.gg for this incredible screen here. It was one of the greatest games in the history of the NBA, straight up. Every game since then has been fun. There's been some fun moments, but it's been a bit of a meh series outside that first game. But still, we're going to a game 6. It still feels to me like we're getting 7 of these. I know this was a bit of a letdown game, if I'm being real with you, from the Spurs, because no AJ Mitchell, no J-Dub. And I was saying this in the first quarter watching this game. I struggled to see. Jaron McCain started the game incredibly slow. Shea started this game incredibly slow. I mean, Shea was just bad straight up for the first quarter of this game. I believe he had 3 turnovers in the first quarter, trying to split double teams, really trying to force the issue. Couldn't get his shots to drop. I really felt as though, man, it just feels like without J-Dub and AJ Mitchell, this Thunder team is just going to have such a difficult time generating offense if it's not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander generating it. And if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to play this poorly, they really have zero chance of winning the game, right? Like just the first quarter stats. Let me see. What was Shai at the first quarter? 7 points, 1 of 5, 3 turnovers. And they won the Shai minutes, and they won the quarter, but it just felt like this doesn't feel sustainable. And then they got their production. Jaron McCain, I'll talk about him more in a second. Isaiah Hartenstein was fantastic tonight. Cason Wallace played a good game, was very good defensively. And then fucking Alex Caruso again. I mean, this is just getting insane what this guy is doing out there. I mean, he's up to 47.7% from 3 this postseason. Absolutely crazy. I truthfully have no clue where they would be in this series without him, right? He's just stepped up to the plate in a major way and has been absolutely fantastic. So shout out to Caruso for what we've seen from him. You know, if they're gonna put Wemby on you and they're gonna help off of you and they're gonna let you shoot threes and you make them pay, it's going to be a big time swing in the series. So kudos to him. Again, kudos to Isaiah Hartenstein. We talked about this, I believe, in game 2, and it was, you know, that game was, you had all of the clips, the highlight package that Peacock had. I guess it's NBC, but I always call it the cock, right? Peacock had where it's just a foul montage of Hartenstein playing very physically with Victor Wembanyama. But we talked about in that game how the Thunder managed to win the minutes that Wemby was on the floor when Hartenstein was on the floor with them, which was a big surprise because it looked like in game 1, Hartenstein wasn't even going to be playable. He had another incredible game tonight. And in the nearly 24 minutes that that Hartenstein shared the floor with Victor Wembanyama, the Thunder won those minutes by 20 points. I mean, absolutely dominated them. They doubled up the Spurs in second chance points over that stretch. Hartenstein was all over the offensive glass. And it helped swing the game in favor of the Thunder. He's been very good this series. That push shot, which seems like it feels automatic at times, but he can have these little dry spells with it where it just feels like that shot has no chance of going in. It's going in. That floater, it really does. It looks ridiculous, but it works. It goes in. He's been paramount for their success here. And again, Shai, look, all of the talk is going to be about Shai and the free throws, and we're going to talk about that here in a second, unfortunately, because that just dominates. You know, interestingly, it's whenever the Thunder win, right? Whenever the Spurs shoot 32 free throws, so the Thunder is 18. We don't hear about this at all. It's magically not a thing anymore. We don't care about free throws. Free throws need to be, like, that doesn't matter anymore. It's only in games like this. I'm just pointing that out as it's just the truth. But it is the mark of good scores because I'm going to lump Wemby in here as well, and he didn't have a very good game, and I'm going to talk about him more in detail here in a second. But it is the mark of decent scorers to go out there and put up points in games where you're not hitting a bunch of shots. Shai shoots 36% from the field, 31% on twos, yet he does finish the game with 32 points. Because, yes, he does go 16 of 17 at the free throw line. This is true. He did shoot 17 free throws. I would challenge people to go and find clips that were not fouls. And again, we'll talk about that here more in a bit because I think it was a problem for the Spurs, and it had a lot to do with how this game ended up going for them. Wemby just looked gassed in this game. I mean, it was a credit to the Thunder. Basically, we've seen this happen throughout the course. We saw this happen throughout the course of the Timberwolves series, where it was like, oh, every now and then there'd be a game where Wemby's just on the perimeter the entire time, and he's just never around the rim. There's a couple instances here and there, a little stretch in the third quarter where Wemby got an and one on a lob. Just crazy that he can even, like the way that he finishes lobs is just absolutely insane. Got a put back as well. When he's just around the rim, good things happen. He's so big, you can get these second chance opportunities. You just throw the ball up there. But the Thunder did an incredible job of just walling off the paint for him. And every time he got a touch, it felt like it was on the perimeter or it was at the free throw line, where then you could start to, collapse your defense a little bit and wall off driving lanes. And now it's stuck. Wemby's stuck with having more of a perimeter-centric game. And they just did a great job. And when Wemby, just from opening tip, looked a little gassed in this game. Looked a little gassed. Even a couple drives by the Thunder where you're used to Wemby just swatting that shot into the seventh row where the rotation was maybe a little bit late, the help was maybe a little bit late, or the help wasn't there at all. Just looked a little fatigued. And I can't help but wonder, right, this going along with game 3 in this series as well. Wemby has a few games every now and then where it just looks like he's gassed, right? And I do have to wonder, did that game 1, was that maybe just such like a energy suck that he played 50 minutes in that game? Such an energy suck that it's just kind of like the effects kind of come out every now and then. There's just a game where, man, the legs just aren't there. And I do wonder long-term with Wemby, right? Because he's going to have these deep playoff runs. They're going to win championships if he's healthy. There's no two ways around that. He's going to have these deep playoff runs where there's going to be games where he's going to have to play 40 minutes. Tonight felt like one of those games where he just had to be out there for 40 minutes or they were not going to win it. He plays 37 and a half minutes. He doesn't play a lot in the regular season. So I wonder if as he sort of progresses throughout his career, if there's kind of times in the regular season where they start to sprinkle in a couple of 40-minute games here and there. I know you want to protect his body and everything, but just to help him be a little bit more prepared for these games, not to give him all the excuses or anything like that, because he didn't play that well tonight. He just didn't, by his standards. We're talking about him like he's the best player in the world. The Spurs guards, man. Jesus Christ. They were dreadful tonight. Harper's clearly dealing with an injury still, right? Hamstring. Those injuries linger badly. Ask Jalen Williams, who's had a year-long hamstring injury from hell. Dylan Harper has not been very good over the last 3 games, which sucks because they really do need him. De'Aaron Fox has also not been very good, was not good in this game at all. Goes 4-15. Had a little stretch there towards the end of the third quarter where it felt like he was starting to get going a little bit. Maybe this game was going to get a little bit closer, but by and large, just didn't really feel his impact much out there. And then Castle did have 24 points in this game to his credit, 7 of 11 from the field. 4 turnovers, and a lot of them were dreadfully bad turnovers. But he also has maybe 3 or 4 possessions a game that aren't turnovers in the scorebook, but he's fumbling the ball or he's throwing a terrible pass and the ball is deflected, and now the Spurs are having to scramble to get the ball, and now there's 2 seconds on the shot clock, and we got to throw up some bullshit because this whole possession has been taken away from us. But also, I'm interested. What was Stephon Castle's? I mean, -9. Nobody on the Spurs had good on-offs, except for Keldon in this game. Keldon Johnson was good. I've kind of poo-pooed Keldon Johnson a little bit. He was good in this game. It was a big-time jolt of energy when they really needed it, especially crashing the offensive glass, which was important. But, I thought the thing with Stephon Castle mainly was the horrible fouls that he had committed. I think he had 5 fouls in this game, was on the verge of fouling out. Had this to say after the fact, the way they guard, how physical they are, we don't get that same luxury to be able to play as physical on the other end at times. It's like, dude, what are you talking about, man? Like, I'm sorry. What are you saying? I know it's common for this just to be the common refrain after games where you throw this out there. Coaches do it all the time. Like, oh, we didn't get to play as physical as the other night, no matter who your opponent is. We see it all the time. It's a strat that you go to. Maybe we can get an extra call is going our way in the next game, huh? If we just kind of grease up the refs a little bit, huh? The problem is, it's like, dude, you had some horribly fucking stupid fouls in the backcourt in this game. Some terrible fouls, being overly aggressive while the Thunder were in the bonus, being overly aggressive, going after inbound passes, just fouls that don't need to happen, just nonsensical fouls that just can't happen under any circumstances. You have no one to blame but yourself. These aren't like meh foul calls. Like, what are you doing calling these? Dude, you're just being overly aggressive when you don't need to be. There was a foul call he got towards the end of the second quarter where Shai's trying to drive and he's holding down the off arm. He gives him a little shove. Can you go on and have that be a play on in the playoffs? Yeah, maybe. Right? It's something you would lose the challenge for. But yeah, maybe that should just be a play on. But what about the other fouls where you're just being overly aggressive in the backcourt? And for what reason? I just don't know. It's just not smart basketball at all. And he has these moments. Okay, I'd like a little bit better self-awareness there, if I'm just being real with you. Jared McCann, I want to talk about him real quickly here, because his shooting numbers in this game weren't great. 7 of 19, 3 of 9 from 3. Nothing that's going to jump out at you. And his shooting numbers in this series haven't been great either. He's 25 of 70 total from the field, 9 of 36 from 3. That's 25%. So, again, the shooting numbers have been bad. He was really, really rough in game 4. We went 1 of 10 from the field. But he has been incredibly important for this Thunder team, especially now that AJ Mitchell and J-Dub are out. And it's no wonder that in 128 minutes played in this series so far, the Thunder are plus 47 whenever he plays. He's helping opening up the floor for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He hit a trail 3 in this game that was essentially the dagger, right? And it's just this, sometimes, in game 4, it's like, dude, you're kind of doing a whole lot here. Let's tone it down a little bit. And there were stretches early in this game where it's like, all right, dude, Jeremy McCann had 3 instances in the first quarter where he's just going right at Wemby. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to go at you. And it didn't work, right? But there's something about just that fearlessness. There's something about I don't care that I'm 2 of 9. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot the next 3 shots. I don't care at all if they go in or not, that this Thunder team desperately needs right now, and that they lack from some of their other guards, especially without AJ Mitchell and Jalen Williams. So big shout out to Jared McCain. We can pour salt in the wound of Sixers fans with that trade being what it was. We could pour salt in the wound of Sixers fans for saying Julian Champagnie, who is also very good in this game. 22 points, 8 of 15 from the field. Had a couple of just really nice drives attacking closeouts where he'd put a little bump into Chet and throw him into the fucking 5th row. You need to get in the weight room, Chet. Get on my bulking program. I'll help you out tremendously this summer, okay? That he got waived by the Sixers for so that Mac McClung could compete in the dunk contest. Not to pour salt in the wound. That's one of the craziest ones I've heard. Somebody who's become an NBA starter on a team that has a chance to win the NBA Finals, and a good starter too, an important starter, was waived by his ex-team so that Mac McClung could compete in the dunk contest. Sometimes you just gotta shake your head. Speaking of shake your head, look at some of these quotes. Reggie Miller, whomever wins the Spurs OKC series, the Knicks are going to be favored in the finals to win it all. Huh? Says who? Says who? Sometimes you just have to applaud this, though. I mean, and I don't want to get morbid on you guys here. Knock on wood, obviously. Knock on glass. Fingers crossed. Would there have to be, would both teams' buses have to collide with each other following game 7 of this series, if it goes 7, for the Knicks to be favored? And I think the Knicks have a chance to win it. Don't get me wrong. But they're not going to be favored. That's absolutely ridiculous. We also got this got a little bit chippy here at the end. I'm not sure what Jared McCain was doing out there for the entirety of this fourth quarter. Even when the game was clearly over, Jared McCain was still out on the floor, and Plumlee got this dirty shot in on him. It's absolutely a dirty play. No two ways around it. It's funny because possession later, he got fouled by Bismack Biyombo. I don't think there was anything dirty about this foul. But got fouled by Bismack Biyombo, came down and landed on, I believe it was Plumlee's foot and hurt his head a little bit. And they cut to the bench, and J-Dub was like, just go stand in the corner. Dude, go stand in the corner, bro. Let Topic bring that shit up, man. Just chill out for a little bit. But yeah, it's getting a little bit chippy. You had this right here as well with, Wemby throwing a little, walking back to the bench, just a little modest little shoulder bump on Chet. What's this shit I'm talking about, man? This is going 7 games. I know we get a little bit, whenever a team wins a game in a series, it's just like, oh, they figured it out. They're going to win every game the rest of the way, especially when the game doesn't feel like it's that close, right? But this just feels like it's destined to go 7. That's just the way that it goes, right? That's just the way that it goes. We did have this brutal sequence that I feel like I would be remiss if we do not talk about, because it was a brutal sequence right here. The refs missed this out of bounds call, clearly off of Chet. They said that it was off the Spurs. And then Mitch Johnson wanted to challenge this. Now, I will say this, to be fair, is the dude, they had like 40 seconds because the refs met up to talk at the free throw line about this. Plenty of time to call the challenge. They don't. They wait. And then as they inbound, Mitch Johnson's trying to call a challenge. They don't grant it. Shea ends up getting fouled, and it was a foul, right? I mean, this just was a foul, and goes to the free throw line. But Mitch Johnson gets teed up here. It ends up being a 3-point sequence for the Thunder. Pretty unfortunate. Now, I will say, not to be a stickler about the rules, and I didn't even know this was true, but apparently you have to call a timeout first. I would have to see, which he didn't. There was another angle of this. I'd have to see that, because I'm sure refs granted just by doing this. I think I've seen it firsthand. However, I will say this legendary Kenny Atkinson gif is legendary because he does do the timeout motion before he does that. So maybe that is a thing. I honestly had never even known that was a rule. But there you go. I did see people say that was the rule. And again, there was a lot of free throws shot in this game. 38 for the Thunder, 32 for the Spurs. We've had a couple games in this series now where the amount of free throws just shot by both teams has been a lot. It has been a physical series. Both teams are playing physically. In game 4, I thought the Spurs played a very physical game of basketball. In game 2, the Thunder played a very physical game of basketball. And I would say in game 4, the Spurs got the benefit of the whistle a little bit. In game number 2, the Thunder got the benefit of the whistle. I'm just like, these accounts, I just have to roll my eye, that have just become so fixated on this being their whole entire shtick. Like this right here. Like, dude, this is a fucking, like this, am I crazy? Am I going fucking crazy? This is a foul, bro. They're calling that a foul every single time. And then when the Spurs are just complaining after every whistle, it's like, dog, what are we talking about? What are we saying? That's crazy. It's just insane. I don't want you guys to take this as a defense of any of the officiating stuff. That little sequence there at the end of the third quarter was brutally bad with the missed goaltend and then the out of bounds called. I just cannot take the endless fucking bitching. I just cannot stand the accounts that have just made it their entire personality to do this. It's just crazy to me, man. Like, this is a great series. It's fun to watch. It's one of the most watched conference final series ever. It's fantastic stuff that I do think we're getting 7 of. Okay. And again, I didn't see these accounts a couple of days ago. I'm wondering what it is. I mean, I know what it is, but still, it's just like, dude, you guys can turn it off, man. You can. You don't have to watch. If it makes you this irate, you don't have to watch it. I'm enjoying it. I know a lot of you guys are enjoying it. Again, slightly biased. Guarantee we're getting 7 of this series. The Spurs winning game 6. I don't know how. Spurs winning game 6. And then in a game 7, you never know what's going to happen. And I'm salivating at the idea of it. I simply can't wait.